Hello everyone and welcome back to Automation Empire, where in the last episode we transitioned away from drones to claw track loaders for our vehicles and also set up the vehicles in a very, very pleasing pattern. Now, at present, we are able to shift at most 7,260. Now, I imagine we can squeeze out just a little bit more than that once this has been running for 3 months. Whether or not we're going to be at the golden number of 9,000, I very much doubt. We might be able to hit 8,000, at which point we might be able to unlock Freight Train, but before then we would need to have researched steel plates and gold to be able to do that. But the real one that we want to unlock, around about the same time as we unlock the Combiner, is the remote connectors. These are going to allow us to make significantly more compact Combiner setups. Otherwise, we're going to have to use an awful lot of space and some piping, or rather auger spaghetti, in order to set that up. So to that end, I have decided that this episode is going to be largely dedicated towards increasing our output of resources. Now, we're not going to be unlocking the Combiner, or at least I doubt it, given the time it's going to take us to get the research points. But a part of this episode will also be improving our researching. So maybe towards the end of the episode, we will have unlocked it. But if we can also have gotten to the point that we have got the material shifted for us to unlock the remote connector, I'd be very, very happy indeed. And look at that. We can grab some research right now. Perfect. Now, the first thing that we're going to need to do, I think, to try and improve this setup is to hook up more vehicles. We're currently spawning the vehicles as fast as we can. So the only way that we can get more trucks load of goods out of the factory is to increase the weight of those goods, which would be something the Combiner would allow us to do, but that's a little ways off, or have more roads and thus spawn more trucks. And I think that's the option that we're going to be going for. Now, how we're going to do that? Well, that's a little bit more complicated. I would like a central loading area so that I can easily load either side of the roads, and probably have a duplicate system over here somewhere. So we'd have a central area where we've got crates being manufactured and filled with goods that then all load the same trains, or rather the same trucks, sorry, on either side. Now, the way we could approach this, I think the first thing we're really going to want to do is to move the research off to a separate location. And I'm thinking it would be better for us to dedicate our shipping industry towards one good at a time. Later on, we're going to want to shift other things, more expensive or more heavy materials. But right now, coal is the thing that we're producing the most of, as we've got 3 different nodes producing coal and only 2 producing iron. So I'm thinking that shifting all of our iron across to research will probably be a good first step. So to that end, let's adjust this little area over here just a tad. Now, a lot of this is going to ultimately come down to the rule of cool. I'm going to be doing quite a lot of it. Actually, let's move that a little bit further out so we've got a bit more space. A lot of this is going to be done simply because it's going to look good, or I'm hoping it's going to look good. We will have to see. I guess you're going to be the judge of that one. I'm sure there are going to be significantly more efficient setups that we could create, but I'm at the moment, I just want to make something that looks really, really snazzy. Right, let's have this little cart now start delivering only to this area, and that should be enough track for it. And ultimately, we're going to want to start bringing over the iron that we're producing here right across. So, can we do that neatly? We could, possibly. Let me just shift in these power poles just a tad, and we should be good. Should be golden. There we go. And we're going to cut off that little turn there. And instead, we're going to have this continue on its merry way all the way down here. Now, can we go over this if we go on the higher level? No. These rocks are absolute barriers. Okay, it's probably like a play field barrier sort of thing. Very well. We can easily hook across and then hook up to this one if we would like to. I think that's fine. We'll allow this iron to be consumed, and that way we'll get a little bit back from that as well. Are you in line? I bet you are. Just to spite me, you'll be lining up. Oh, no. Never mind. Never mind. The game has been kind. Hooray. Right, so we're also going to want to load the iron up here as well. Now, this train may need to get a little bit longer to accommodate the journey that it's having to make. There we go. And I am going to start doing increasingly more building whilst the game is paused, simply because of taxes. No other reason than that, really. We want to try and reduce the amount we're having to spend in taxes where we can and as often as we can. There we go. So that's all hooked up now. We should start seeing the iron being brought along. I'll increase this to up to 4 carts, though right now it's not actually grabbing a whole heck of a lot. But the added distance that it might have to travel may increase that. So let's just pop that in there, and that should help out a little bit. There we go. And this should be able to... Ooh, no, we're going to need to expand that. At least 2 more. There we go. That'll be fine. Right, on that note, we are going to want more container space available. Now, my plan here is to start having the research factories running off this. Now, if I pop this down there, there's no real benefit to that one, as is. I would rather draw these connectors out much further apart so that any research facilities that we build aren't going to be bumping into each other. There we go. Now, unfortunately, I guess we really... I should have destroyed these when I claimed the research. There isn't too much in them, so I'm going to just bite the bullet and destroy them right now. There we go. Get rid of those entirely. That wasn't quite what I meant to do. Let me hook up all of the power again, because currently our coal factory over there got shut down as well. My bad, everyone. My bad. I shouldn't... I was just saying how I am going to do most of my building while paused. And then I didn't pause, and then I shut down a part of the factory accidentally. Oops. Right, there we go. Now then, over here, we will be able to build the research facilities. Now, again, I had to disconnect it previously, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't have been able to build new ones. They have to be built next to each other. There we are. And also need to hook these up to power as well. That would be helpful. Sure, we'll have them hook up like that, and then we can connect this one across there. I wonder, would we be able to squeeze in... Oh, maybe we could, actually. Maybe we could have some coming down there to connect up, but I don't really think that's strictly necessary, honestly. We can just continue to expand out in this direction, like so. And once again, and we'll have another one built over here. So we're already going to be researching a little bit faster than before. And that's a good start, in my opinion. Now, we are burning through our reserves of money before the taxes become really nasty. We don't have a huge amount of time before that happens, so we do need to be constantly improving the output of our factory. But I think this is going to be a big help for us. So let's just get those two hooked up, connect them with a bit of power. There we go. That's a nice little research area, and it's got quite a lot of iron there available to it. Perfect. Now then, over here, how are we going to set this up? Well, that is a bit of a question, isn't it? Now, we're only going to be putting our coal into this, so we could go ahead and set that up. How much money have we got? Well, the money is kind of flowing out of the coffers faster than it's flowing in, which is a little bit of a problem, I'll be honest. Right, let's recoup some of these materials so that we can start thinking about how we're going to set this up. I think the best thing for us to do initially is to set up the system so that it can handle what we've already got before we start trying to add new things. Now, the position of the minecart track may have to move. It'll almost certainly have to move, actually, thinking about it, but for the time being, that's not a terrible thing. Now, I'm going to lay down a couple of tracks just so that we have an idea of how I want to set this up. Ultimately, I'm going to want the tracks to deliver over here and probably here, and then half of this area. So, with that in mind, we're going to want the last unload station to be there. There we go. And now that this is all gone, we can just get rid of that quite comfortably. There we go. I'm not going to place the new ones on this side yet. I will draw that out. I'm not going to replace this, that is, because all I need this for is that I have an idea of where things are going to be placed so that I can build around their eventual placement. We'll place that one over there so it'll connect up, and then I can get rid of you, make a little bit of room. Because what I would like to do is bring the coal down here and have a similar sort of distribution through the canisters, the containers, to crate makers. Now, how are we going to set up the crate makers is the big question. I'm thinking we're going to want the crate makers, at least on this side, somewhere like this and there, for example. And let's see, if we grab a crate maker, how much room do we need for this? Well, what I'm thinking of will be something along these lines. I want each crate maker to be able to store, well, at least 2 rows worth of output. Sorry, rather 2, I guess rows in a way, or columns, depending on which way you're looking at it. So something like this. And we're going to use short claw tracks to distribute this. Now, I should make sure that this all matches up to the containers that are going to be supplying them. Can we connect these? Oh, no. Well, okay, we're going to have a slight redesign then. So we're going to need to move this one back just a little bit. And the reason for that is this is 3. We have no other options in terms of its length. And as the small container is also 3, and they can't connect like this, then no matter what, the smallest I can do is a 3-tile gap, and that's too small. The next step up is a 5-tile gap, and something along those lines. So we're going to have a slight change to that setup, but that shouldn't be a problem, really. Let's pop these in place. Now, this isn't exactly a cheap way of doing it. Certainly not. But it should be, if nothing else, a visually appealing way of doing it. So let's get these augers set up. And that's actually already connected. Fantastic. I approve. Now, the way that I'm going to balance these 3 is using a very small and dedicated claw track. I'm only going to need 1 claw on it. There we go. It doesn't really matter in which direction they're going, because it's going to load up from the middle track and it's going to deposit on the outer tracks. And it'll just keep shuttling back and forth, back and forth. There's no reason to have a loop here, because ideally speaking, it'll pick up 1 crate and then deposit it over here, which means it's ready to pick up another crate. So there's no point in going all the way around, passing somewhere which will only allow it to unload so that it can pick up another crate. May as well just shuttle back and forth constantly, unloading. It'll visit the loading area twice as often as it visits an unloading area, or rather each individual one, which is exactly what we wanted to do. Now, with that in mind, you can probably already see how I'm going to be setting this up. We are going to have a claw track running this circuit, and that will hopefully deliver. Ooh, actually, let me just slide up there. These will be the large rails, and then the corner rails can go in there. I've found that it's a little bit easier to set those up using the actual corner sections. And simply put, these will lift from all of these areas and then deposit in these areas like so. And depending then on the direction the claw train is moving, let me just add one and unpause it just so I can see which way you're going to go. You're going to go that way. So we need to set these up for skip every 3rd, skip every 2, skip every 1, and then deposit everything else in here. Now, of course, this isn't going to do anything right now. And what I would like to do is allow some of these to get loaded up onto a truck first so that I can clear out a little bit more of the room back here. There we go. Perfect. And we need a loader there. And then a row of unloaders all the way over to here. There we go. And then this claw track is going to be loading from there and there. And this one from here and here. And it doesn't matter in what order it loads. It's only the unload you ever need to balance in that way. Are we going to get an empty track? Oh, fantastic, we are. That's marvelous. How's my research going? It's going to take us a while, but we're going to generate a decent amount all at once, which I'm pretty happy with. We're actually stockpiling iron, which means we could afford, if we wanted to research a little bit faster. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's necessarily the smartest move. I'll do that once the iron is backed up a little bit more than it currently has, because that's a very large expense to lay down straight away. There we go. So that is all set up now, and we're going to want probably at least 6. So ideally, well, I mean 4 would probably be the better one, so 8. We'll do it in sets of 8, though realistically it could only normally pick up 6, but there should ideally be a backlog of materials there, so ideally it'll be able to pick up 8, and then in the time that it's loading and unloading, another 8 will be produced. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of coal starting to gather over here. Now, the way that I think that it would be best for us to deliver this would be to have the coal produced in this area and then shipped along over here. So how are we going to set that up exactly? Well, let's have a look. We're going to need another wagon, and we're also going to need that wagon to go up. Ooh, now we're hitting a problem. Well, is there enough room? Ooh, there is. Well, that may save us. Okay, it's going to involve us shifting a little bit more of the material once again. Let's see how far we would have to shift it. Could we pop it over here? No, I'd need it a little bit closer. Maybe we could do it here, though. We might just be able to make this work, everyone. I'll pop that one in there, and we have a gatherer there. Then we may, if we're very, very lucky, super fortunate, be able to set this up. Oh, look at that. We're going to be able to run it straight across. I mean, it's going to smack into all of these, which is a little bit unfortunate. But so, you know what? Just going to disconnect that for now. Oh, too late. I've already grabbed everything. Never mind. It looks like it's being stored. We could, and in fact we should, hook these up to the power plant properly, I think. Let's just bring this down and then across so that I'm not likely to disconnect power when I delete this, because delete it I shall. There we go. This is not doing us any good, and we can get a little bit of cash back from that. In fact, none of this is really going to do us any good, but I think there's going to be at least a couple of coal crates made there. Yeah, and at this point, there's no more coal being produced. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're not about to disconnect the power once again, so let's do that. There we go. And then, very simply, just delete these. There we go. Doesn't matter. Don't need it. We'll allow those two to be collected, but all of this then goes away. There we are. And get rid of all of these storage containers. That's quite a lot of money in the bank for us, which I'm very, very happy with. You're not going to be able to deliver any, so we're going to start backlogging a little bit. That's fine. And now, at this point, this entire claw track is surplus to demand. In fact, this is now also surplus. So let's go ahead and get rid of all of these. There we go. Nice and simple. And I probably just deleted the last 2 crates, didn't I? I didn't even think of that. I'm going to have to check in the editing whether that's exactly what I did, but I've got a very strong suspicion that is what I did. I waited for the claw trains to collect the crates and then promptly deleted the claw trains and the crates. Not my finest moment, I will confess. Not the finest. Now, this vehicle is not going to get loaded for a little while, so we need to hook this up as soon as possible. To that end, we are going to... Which direction are you going? I really do need you to go the other way, so... Go ahead, go back in there for me. Thank you. There we are, perfect. Right, we need the track here to connect up. So first and foremost, let's delete all of this. Now, I'm not going to have these vehicles here deliver direct to the unloading area. I would like it to be separated, but it doesn't need to be separated by much. So let's just quickly get this to connect them up. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do here is create something that is scalable. And that's super, super important. I want to be able to say, okay, well, I've got a loading station now and never have to come back and build another one. This loading station is going to suit all of my needs moving forward. All right, let's have one of these because I feel that we're going to need a nice big chunky one. We want this one to unload right about there. And we're probably not going to need a very large train of wagons, but we'll pop at least that much. There we go. So this will deliver all the way down here. And just for the time being, until we hook everything up... Oh, damn it. Until we hook up everything the way we really want it to be hooked up, we can just have this little wagon trail just curl around here, just so that we've got a nice bit of unloading room. There we go. That should be perfect. Right. All I want from you now is to deliver coal. Now, to do that, we're going to want a couple of loading bays. So we'll probably have something like this. Another one, and then another, because I'm going to want several locations. Like I said, we've got 3 different nodes mining coal. 1, 2, and 3. So we are going to need 3 separate loading areas. That stands to reason. So we are going to want probably another one all the way over here. And this one can just come out to that. I can even draw it even further back, and that should be fine. I don't think we need it further back than that, really, but we'll see. If we pop on there, it'll actually look quite nice with the carts all curving under each other, I think. Even though that one's lost a little bit of its extra speed, I think it should be fine. Right, let's have a look in here. Is there enough room for you to load more? There it is. So let's add an extra cart so that you can load a little bit more without any issue. There we go. Perfect. And now we want... let's pop down 3 for the time being. There we go. That should be fine. And there we are. Perfect. Absolutely marvelous, I must say. Right, we've got coal being delivered over here into very large areas, and I kind of want that to be being sent over here instead. Now, we could possibly just connect it straight up. Let's have a look. Is that going to be possible? We want another 3, so about there, is it? I think so. Yes, one there, and then another one. Alas, not quite possible. Well, actually, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. If we shaved off this little area here, we might be able to do it. Alternatively, I could very, very quickly empty out this area. Like, super fast. Though, at the moment, that's one of the only ways that these vehicles are being supplied. So I probably shouldn't disconnect them just yet. Let's leave those connected. But instead, and I am going to do what you think I'm going to do. I'm that lazy. But look, it's going to work. If it works, why not do it, eh? It's a very simple way of moving these materials, but ultimately I want them to be set up in a slightly different area. Let's run it like this instead. So we want one there, all the way up to there. Give it just a little bit of extra room. There we go. And that will do. It is not pretty, but it doesn't need to be just yet. There we go. And we'll pop 2 carts on it. There we are. Go ahead, load up, start moving that along for me. There we are. This one, however, can instead deliver over here. So this will quickly run down. With only one wagon delivering to it, we will find that it will very, very quickly run out. And we will then be able to deliver to this one exclusively. Let's pop out enough there. There we go. And then we could hopefully just connect up nice and cleanly. There we are. Perfect. I like it. So we are now delivering our coal over here, ideally. As you can see, it is distributing it well enough, which is exactly what we needed. Perfect. Let's make sure that that is actually doing the work it needs to do. Maybe add an extra 2 carts and expand this out a wee bit. So another 3 will probably be enough for all of these to be loaded. Now let's have a watch of that. There we go. And bump. There we are. Perfect. I like it a lot. There we go. That should start filling these up very nicely. And if we have a watch of how this works, once this starts to back up at any rate, it won't load balance until it's backing up, but it doesn't need to, because of the way the claw train works. You're not actually saving. You're not making it any more efficient by having them spread out, because the claw train will just grab the first crate it encounters, no matter what. This just gives us the potential to have 6 crates waiting over here. That's what we're really aiming for with that. It's not so much that we want it to be balanced, we just want there to be a buffer of available crates so that these can always grab quite a few. Now, with that done, we need to do exactly the same over here. How are we doing in terms of our weight output? That's not so good. It's really not so good. And how are our taxes at the moment? They're creeping up rather quickly. Dislike that a lot. All right. Well, let's continue. Now, again, as I've been mentioning, the idea with this is that it's scalable. Ultimately, I want to be able to have more trucks taking out our goods over here. So we've got to decide where I'm going to set up, and I'm going to set up in exactly the same way, but just down here instead. So I'm going to pause this there, and I'm actually going to disconnect this point here, because oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Poop. Therein is the problem with just clicking wildly. That is a bit of a problem, because we did lose quite a lot of things there, unfortunately. There we go. Let's pop all of these back on. Another 6, please. That was a big mistake there, but oh well, what can you do? Now, I do want you to load from this side first, so I'm going to rotate the direction that you're moving, so that we can get this cleaned out a little bit faster. And I'm learning my lesson. I'm clicking further away. There we go. Now, how are things going down here? We're still pulling out of these containers, so that's good. But they are going to very quickly run out. Over here it's doing well. It's starting to fill up. So again, a backlog there. That's what we want to see. Excellent. Now, what we're going to want down here is exactly the same as we've got over there. So, first things first, we're going to want 2 loading bays. We're going to need a gap to accommodate the fact that there is, we're going to have a container in the middle there. There we go. And then on this side, run it all the way out. They won't connect because of the lip there. The crates can't move over that lip, so we should be fine. And now I just need to do the same as we did on the other side. There we go. That is all set up and ready to receive. Now, we can just run this straight across. I'm not exactly certain that we're going to be able to fit it in, so I'm going to try and avoid doing laying that down until I know for certain. Can we? No, we cannot. Well, you know what? Again, there is no reason. We're not really paying an upkeep. We kind of are paying an upkeep for any wagons, but across this little distance, there's no reason not to use wagons, really. Oh, come on, wagons are cool. Let's be honest with ourselves. We all like them. There we go. So I'll just have a little wagon there distributing the coal, and we'll have a 3 wagon load. There we go. That should get the coal moving over there, and then once that's done, all of the loading is then set up only on this side of the road. Now, we could, if I wanted to, have more loading bays on here. We could even move it up to having 3 roads on each side, but I think we're going to want to try and work out the logistics of getting 2 roads on this side. Ah, look at this. Beautiful, beautiful research. Let's grab all of that as quickly as we can. There we go. Grabbing all of that. We're up to 300,000. How much do we need? We need just another 200,000. That shouldn't be too rough. We should be able to actually pop another 2 carts on there just to even this out a little bit faster, because we've got quite a lot over here that we're going to grab a reasonable amount of it. There we go. And across it goes. Now, I'm noticing that it doesn't look like the wagons are really carrying that much. Let's see how much gets deposited here. Is it only carrying 2 or 1 now? I'm not entirely sure, but I swear it seems like the wagons aren't moving as much as they used to. That's very curious indeed. Right, I'm going to shut these down, or allow these to pull out their last load, and then I'll have this deliver the coal direct to the rest of the system. As soon as I start seeing empty crates, there we go, empty crates are being produced. That means we have no more reason for these on this side. Right, okay. With that done, I'm going to shut down the ability to accept coal in this system. And instead, I'm going to allow this to completely drain over here. And then we will have this wagon just deliver across instead. And that is going to mean all of our coal is in one place and then gets delivered to the other side. And the reason why I'm doing it in these steps, instead of creating all of the spaghetti tracks that would be necessary to deliver the coal from each factory over here, is because, again, you're only going to be wanting to export your most valuable commodity or your heaviest commodity, depending on what you're aiming for. And that isn't going to be coal. As soon as we can make steel, we're going to want to switch over to that. So by having the coal delivered to a discrete kind of central coal depositing area, we can then move it to where it needs to be. But also, all I need to do to deliver something else here is to hook up this track to a different source. That'll be a lot easier than having to unthread a bunch of separate systems all trying to deliver at the same time. Is there not enough in there? There's just a tiny bit in here. Okay, fine. We'll get rid of all of this then. There we go. And you can go as well. At this point, we can deliver the coal directly from this wagon. So let's let that head back into the factory. There we are. Let it go a little bit further. I would like to have the coal delivered on a slightly faster route. So sure, let's have this an elevated route, shall we? There we go. It's probably surplus to demand, but it doesn't really matter. There we go. We are actually going to definitely going to need that to rotate around here. I think that should be in the right spot. Let's have a look. Did I get that right? I actually got it 1 too shy, but that's fine. That is so pointless. No. I can't do that. That is really genuinely pointless. Let's not. Let's get rid of this. The claw tracks are actually pointless now, though. So let's get rid of all of these. I'm going to hold down the left mouse button while deleting. I know, taking my life in my own hands here. There we are. But it looks like we came out without too much trouble. Perfect. And we can delete these as well. They're no longer necessary. There we are. We'll leave this one in there for now, because I don't want to have to faff around with deleting that just yet. So allow all of the tracks to do their thing. Right, we could just delete it, deliver it straight over. Delete, my lord. Being a bit destructive, it seems. Right. I'm going to need to know where I need this to curl off at. About there. Yes, this is completely unnecessary. I don't care. There we go. Let's connect that up. There we are. We can just deliver direct to this source. There we go. And we'll grab all of the materials from there. And we should be good. Should be golden, in fact. Now, I'm certain we're not going to need that many cards. In fact, I'm going to delete that. But I want to get rid of the backlog that is no doubt started to pile in there. 10. So we'll add an extra cart as well. Might not be necessary. Might not even fit, actually. No, it won't fit. So that's fine. We'll just use 3 then. But that should be able to move everything we've got in here. So 15, yeah, it is actually pulling up 4 per car. I guess I was just delivering and withdrawing at the same speed, and that was causing the issue there. We certainly don't need to be delivering as aggressively over here anymore, so that is fine. And you should turn around. I want you to pick up these 2 crates first, so that I can get rid of the materials on this side. There we go. We've got quite a lot of material in our inventory right now, which is very nice. Get rid of these. Tidy up this side of the track. Can I get rid of that without taking out the train? I can. That was a gamble there, I'll be honest. A needless gamble, which is even worse. But there we go. Getting very, very tidy now. Very tidy indeed. You go all the way across. There we are. And then we do exactly the same on this side. Just clean all of this up. And again, this is going to be a very scalable delivery system. For the roads for now. We're not going to be on roads always. We're probably going to keep them around for a good long while, but eventually we are going to want to move away from roads entirely and switch over to using much more efficient transport systems. There we are. So all of these materials now will be delivered directly to this one. There we go. We're actually going to want this one to move the other way so that it empties this side first. And there we have it. I think that was a good job done there, frankly. Very good job done. Now we can actually look at setting up the roads on this side. Now that is going to cause me some issues over here though. But let's start off by laying down the road itself. So how are we going to set this up? I need to lay down a couple of things just so that I can see where things are going to be. We've got one tile, which would be the loader there. In fact, let's use the pipes because they're a lot easier. Only 1,000 versus 2,000. We want 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 2. Right, that is the point where the road will have to exist. So let's go ahead and draw this down. There we are. Nice and easy. And we want the entry point to be around here. Can we go any deeper? No, we can't. We can't actually sink any deeper. That's a bit of a problem. Why is that then? It may be that on this side it doesn't quite connect. It would connect over here though. That's a shame. It does need to be built into a cliffside no matter what. That's quite vexing. There's no easy way for us to resolve this one. And on this side, how far back would I need to go to connect it? Could I even connect it on this side properly? I could, technically. But it would be a little bit more of a squeeze. Alright, well, let's pause things there. For this to work, I'm going to have this one go in towards the middle to make the pattern work the same way. Can I do that on this? I can. Ah, fantastic. Now, the real question is there a way that I can make this work? Is it? It is perfect. It's as if the fates wanted this to happen. And don't worry. It doesn't create an eyesore of a rear to the tunnel. It actually goes down into the ground, which is actually pretty cool, I think. Okay, well, with that done, we can run this all the way up and out. Though I do worry that we might not be able to fit everything in here. Let's see. Can we create this? No. I'm going to need to move this minecart track. Let's just allow it to move past. There we go. That is fine. And then we need to just adjust this. This curve can't exist there. It needs to be a little bit further along to allow room for the tunnel. So let's pop that tunnel down. We want the tunnel out. That can really be anywhere. Where does it need to be? That should be fine. That should line up correctly. And then this one over there should be fine as well. Oh no, we're going to lose one. Despite my best efforts, everyone. We're not going to quite be as good a system as on the other side of the road. That is a big shame. That is a genuine shame. But it is what it is. We can't get around it, so we may as well not lament it. All right, let's pop this one in there, and we should be golden. And this one just connects up along here. There we are. Perfect. Perfect and wonderful. Right. Can I just bring the power across here? I can. Amazing. There we are. And get rid of you. Now, can I connect this up in a little bit of a nicer way? Maybe. Have a look at you then. If we just kind of skip around. Ooh. To get over the tunnels, I might be able to do it if I rose up once more. That might be a good reason to do this for the first time. I am going to have to move the power though. Annoyingly. Can I connect it up there? I can. Excellent. In fact, then we don't even need this one either. Okay. So let's bring the wagons up. There we are. And then around on tier 3 or level 3. Straight across. And we're going to have to come down twice around here. That shouldn't be too much of a problem, I don't think. About there. First descent. And come out a little bit further. And then we can have the final descent just before the unloading. So let's pop that down here. And that should be perfect. Oh, that all came together wonderfully. And we've now got a really tall minecart track. Come on. Don't even pretend. You wanted this as much as I do. There we go. I wasn't just going to build it for the sake of it, but now I've got a reason to. So that's fine. There we are. Now, this is where I go to lay this down and I find out that it's not actually in the right position. I think it is, though. I think we should be good. That's fingers crossed, everyone. We're not going to need this one over there, and that is a bit of a shame, but, well, it's not. There's not a lot we can do about it. What I am going to have to do, though, is deliver more coal, though. That is absolutely clear to me. Except down here, wow, we have got a massive stockpile of coal. Well. If I were to turn around here, we may actually be able to do this a little bit better. It is a pain, because I need this area to completely empty out this amount of coal here, but we'll see. We'll see if this works. There we go. It's going to back up a little bit, but we should be able to get a little bit more coal out of there in a moment. But here we go. Everything is working, and we're going to start seeing trucks arrive. So with that going on, we now need to use some of our ample money to set up the loading and unloading, pretty much a mirror of that site. So I'll get on with that, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. But there you have it. I finally hooked up all of the remaining claw tracks now, and as you can see, we're starting to get a really nice backlog of resources. I keep wanting to say backstuffing, but they're not really backstuffing when they're just on a conveyor belt. It would be true if they were in pipes. But just to recap what we've done, we've got a nice centralized research area. We are bleeding dry our iron reserves, and that is a bit of a concern. We are going to have to hook up to that. But we have also unlocked combiners, which means that all of this glorious, glorious coal being delivered over here, and oh, I don't believe I actually did specifically cover it, but we did eventually bleed the slightly offset container dry and hooked all of that up, and we are delivering it all the way over here. But we will probably be moving to producing steel instead of coal and iron. So eventually we're going to need some sort of central steel processing area where we're just going to make regular deliveries of coal and iron, and then output steel, and then generally rely on shipping steel. That will be the ideal situation there. But as you can see, we're starting to have a very positive cash flow. It was a little bit tight for a little while, and part of that was while I was bleeding this container dry over here. I will be honest, I did forget that that was there, and then had to hook all of that back up again. That is one of the problems, and I'm not gonna just jump straight on and say, but it's YouTube. I'm a little bit distracted when I'm commentating. Some of it is just genuine derpitude. I'm not perfect, not even slightly, but in fact I'm rather flawed. But there we go. We've got everything moving as it should be moving, and that, whilst it's clear that we're not quite meeting the demand or our capacity to ship materials, we're not drastically underperforming either. I think probably in the next episode we are going to start off by hooking up a couple of new iron and coal nodes to the system, just to make sure that we are actually saturating our ability to shift the cargo, and then we're going to start looking at moving on to steel. We're going to probably need a little bit of spare cash in hand, because we're going to need to make a couple more of these discrete refining factories just outside the mining areas. I've kind of earmarked over here because it's got a nice coal and iron area right there. Now, you might be tempted to think that I'm going to just jump straight into making steel here. No, I will deliver the coal and the iron. I would rather have a factory dedicated to the manufacturing of steel rather than having a couple of them dotted all over the place. So we are going to be playing around with a big factory in the next episode as well. But that is going to be it from me. I really do hope that you enjoyed today's episode and will be joining me for the next. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.